Who do you think you are? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're far too far away. But when I look at your photo, you just float away. My world stops moving. Now and I don't know. 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 Now and I don't. Oh, who do you think you are? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh,
Chrissy?
ooh, ooh. Who do you think you are? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. Who do you think you are?
That sounds so good, I don't want to turn it down, but we got to tell you that you're listening to Dateline New Haven, WNHH Radio. I'm your host, Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines and the stories that make the Elm City tick, and you are listening as well to Thabisa, New Haven, Westville's amazing South African-born vocal and songwriting talent, with her recording What Are These Feelings from the Journey. And you know what else? Thabisa is in the studio today, and she's brought some friends who are also some great musicians. Because even though today what's the big story in New Haven is politics and the blue wave that swept Connecticut and the huge turnout in New Haven on Tuesday that elected Ned Lamont governor, more than 20,000 vote margin of victory in the city of New Haven, put him over the line with the largest vote in the state. But you know what? I'm a little tired of the soulless talk of politics. I thought maybe for the recovering from the election day and the election season hangover, we would spend today on Dateline New Haven talking to three of our great local musicians who are making names and have a big concert up. We're going to say good morning to Westville's Thabisa, who's gearing up for a big gig Thursday night, November 8th in Hartford. And joining her here are singer and songwriter Chrissy Gardner from Westville and folk singer-songwriter Angela Luna Grano. Did I say that right?
Just Angela Luna works.
Oh, just Luna.
Thank you.
Whose group Luna and the Lost Souls will open in Hartford for Thabisa. So welcome, everyone. It's so nice to visit with you. That song is putting us in a good frame of mind for the post-election nightmare and not nightmare season. What do you think? Yeah. It's very nice to have you back, Thabisa, back, Chrissy, and meet you for the first time, Angela.
Thank you, Paul. Great to meet you.
Thanks. Good to be here.
As I said, that's is that what album is that from? The Journey. Is that a recent album, Thabisa?
That is my first baby. That's my firstborn, The Journey.
And can you get a little closer to the mic?
That one is the first, my first baby, The Journey, and my second one is Ayo Didi. So I've got two babies.
How many years ago did you put out that album?
The Journey was recorded and released in 2013. And Ayo Didi was released in 2015.
Right, and you were here telling us about that.
So, well, I can tell you about how grateful I am that I have those albums out. And I feel like for me, they are my foundation and also a great experience to have had, you know, however hard I may have felt it was, or however I felt maybe it was not quite how I wanted it to be, but I'm grateful for all of that, because then now I know what I can do differently, and now I know what I can, in terms of my music as well, because it's not just about the management of the whole project, but also as management of your own art. Even though that's a weird thing to say about your art, because you can't quite manage it, because you do what you feel, and you know. So, but you try to have a direction of what is it that you want to tell people, and what is it that you want. How do you want people to feel, and how do you want to portray those stories that you've experienced or that you see. So. And
then one morning you wake up at Kanye West, and all of a sudden you're in a different universe. Right?
Don't go there.
I forgot to mention that thanks that Yale New Haven Hospital sponsored today's program. So first I want to talk about the gig before we get into each of the three of you and your careers. Thursday, November 8th, 7:30 p.m.
Yep.
Autorino, if that's pronounced right, Center of the Arts and Humanities at St. Joseph's in Hartford.
That's right.
How did this come about? And tell me about the venue.
Well, it's one of those things I feel like in my life, I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. Sometimes we plan so much, we plan to do things and they don't happen, and then we dwell on all of that has not happened. So this is a situation for me when it comes to this event. I've been meaning to have a show, a big show, in a theater or somewhere that's going to be indoors instead of doing festivals like I usually do. And I've been finding that it's difficult. There were a lot of hurdles in front of me that I just couldn't cross, and I felt like I'm not going to be able to do a show because I have goals, and one of them was to have a show, and I felt like I'm failing on this one. And I sort of felt bad, but then I thought I should accept it that it's not happening. I mustn't force things, and without realizing, as much as I'm feeling like I'm not going to be doing a show this year, without realizing that actually. You are going to do a show because someone gave it to you on a platter. Someone gave it to you on a platter and gave you a place that's 10 times more than you wanted to do. Because I had a vision of a place that was maybe like 50 people that I could
Well, you've been at Lyric Hall, for instance. You've been at festivals. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in festivals, and I've performed at Lyric Hall, and I've done all these other little events as well. But then Steve Ginsberg saw me performing at Trinity here at the Green. I was performing at a rally that was hosted by Iris because of all the immigrants, the immigration problems that were arising.
Your heart as an immigrant, right, from South Africa.
Exactly. So and being someone who's a foreigner in this country myself, I thought this is close to home, and I would love to be part of it.
So when was that rally? When was that concert?
That was this year. I can't remember now the date.
So who's this guy who heard you, Steve Ginsberg?
Summertime. So Steve Ginsberg is actually a West Villager as well, but he works at is the director of the arts in the University of St. Joseph's. And he saw me performing, and he thought, wow, I should have her come and perform at our place. So he had offered this, that, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this event with us? Please, can you do it? And but first, can you do a gig for us at the Shakespeare events that they host every year in summer? And I thought I would love to do that too, but then I can only do it by myself, not with the whole band. And he was fine with that. So I did that event, and they also said, we would love to have you in November, but we'll have to talk about that later on. And yeah, basically cutting the story short, here I am. I'm here to tell everybody to come through and see us perform at the Odorino Center of the Arts and Humanities, and I'm going to be there. Steve Ginsberg is the one.
So how big a joint is that?
365 people.
Oh, all right. And you're getting the word out through social media, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
And you decided to bring a band with you.
Yes.
It's going to include Chrissy Gardner, who's here, who's a keyboardist, songwriter in Westville, correct?
Yes.
And so is this a band you play with often, or how did you put this together?
Yes, it consists of musicians that I play with pretty often. I usually use different musicians as time goes, depending on what kind of gig it is that I'm doing, depending on what kind of a venue it is that I'm being asked to perform at. So sometimes I keep it small or big or bigger.
So what's this going to be?
So this is going to be 8 people.
Whoa!
I'm going all out, or you go home.
We're talking about a show and a show. Okay.
Show and a half.
So you got a percussion,
my
keyboard,
keyboardist,
which some people call percussion. Yeah.
So keyboardist and pianist.
Oh.
Chrissy is going to be playing. She's going to be on keys, playing a piano and the keyboard, and she's going to be amazing.
And guitar.
And guitar, it's going to be Michael Ross, with, you might have met him, Mark Pelicio. He was here with me.
Yeah, yep, I remember.
And on percussion is Eric Ray. A drummer is Sam Oliver. And a backing vocalist is going to be Lovelyn Richards. And also, Chris is going to be backing as well.
And what kind of music? Mostly your originals, or?
And Tim on trumpet.
Kane.
Oh, Tim Kane from Westville. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Are they going to be mostly Thabisa originals, a little mix, Miriam Makeba? What kind of stuff?
It will be 98% originals. I'll do one Miriam Makeba or 2. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to. There was one that I haven't really done in public of her, and it's a beautiful love lullaby, a love song. But yeah. I'll be doing.
And how's your music evolved? I mean, coming out of kind of South African tradition, along with sort of jazz and American pop, if you think that's a fair way to describe it. Thabisa, a lot of soul in your singing, no matter what you're singing. Where you been lately? What kind of stuff you're writing? You've been a mom now.
Yeah, I know.
For a few years, I see you walking out in the neighborhood. How's that affected your music?
Thank you for that question, because it's a hard question to answer, but it's a beautiful question too, because I'm at that that stage where I'm writing, and it's very, very emotional. I hear artists sometimes say this, I'm like, yeah, right. But I know it is because it's coming from a very authentic place, and I really want to make sure that I don't cheat my audiences, my people. I want them to hear something that really comes from my heart, and not just brush it off and put cream on it. I really want to get into in there and really share a little bit of myself that is honest and true. But to translate that and put it into music, it's a different story all on its own. You know, finding the right people to work with that understand studio life, that understand composition, that understand.
And that's with 7 other people backing you. You're saying where you're going to put the trumpet parts. Do you arrange that on your head? Does Chrissy kind of go with the basic chord progression you have in the lyrics and take, like, Chrissy, do you put your own kind of vocalized and lyrical keyboard on it, or do you just kind of back up where she's going with the rhythm?
I'm backing up where she's going with it. For this type of a thing, I'm completely just there to support Thabisa and be there with the band. And this is my first time playing with her.
Yes.
We've been friends for a little while, and we're getting
Yes.
closer and closer.
Yes.
We stayed up way too late the other night until 3 a.m. talking. We can't be
Folding laundry.
Exactly.
That's funny. I was up 3 a.m. last night watching them count bows.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I made myself go
I think
to
you
bed.
had more fun.
I couldn't take it. No, but we've been talking about playing together in some way for a while. Our music is, of course, really, really different.
Yeah.
I come from a more classical background in rock and in folk, and but
I see some overlap with the folk.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, but I really believe deeply in Thabisa, and I think if you're
We all
listening,
believe
this
in
is if you're listening, you should come out and see her. She's really a very connected, passionate, brilliant performer. She's joyful. She's her songs are beautiful, and
she's on Dateline New Haven right now.
And
on
she
WNHH
sure
FM.
is.
Which you're listening to NewHavenInvent.org. We're talking with 3 great local musicians who are going to be performing Thursday night, November 8th, in the Autorino Center of the Arts and Humanities at St. Joseph's in Hartford. There are New Haven musicians, and it's Thabisa, Chrissy Gardner, and Angela Luna Grano, whose stuff I've not had a chance to dive into before. So let's take a listen to that, folks, and then we'll ask how you got on the bill and what you're up to, and also tell us about farming.
Yeah.
So, Angela,
That's why I carry a knife.
you got
Not
an
for New Haven.
album here, Lullabies for Monsters, and from Urban Beach Studios, where it was recorded. Do you want us to play the first track, Twice as Less, or what track would you like?
I would love for you to play Sweet Justicia, track 2.
Meaning Sweet Justice?
Sweet Justice, baby. We had a little of that last night, right?
Here in Connecticut.
Yes,
Don't
indeed.
know about the South. And here we are from Angela Luna from Lullabies for Monsters. We're going to hear Sweet Justicia.
Justicia, with a flamenco vocal solo at the end, which is probably going to be rare for radio, but I'm excited. Let's share it.
We're ready.
Ole Ángela, cantando bien, ole.
I come and enter in the deepest silence. Too many figure with exacting silence. My subtle stealthy like a creeping dragon. I crush the ones who hadn't have it coming. But ooh, sometimes the blind choose not to see. And I am here to lead you down to the path of destiny. So get up, stand up, turn up and say something. Honor yourself or you will face the ringing of your ears. You cannot escape this manner. Find true bliss, for love is not as blind as we may make her. Lady liberty, my pretty maker. All that we touch and all that we do goes back to sweet Justicia. Spread like an eagle in a sky of red lips.
Sweet Husistia.
That's great.
With that was Angela Luna performing from her album Lullabies for Monsters, bringing in Jesus Montoya for that flamenco.
Jesus Montoya.
That was cooking.
Wasn't that hot?
That was cooking.
I will say, Jesus is so fabulous, and
I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about the whole track. That thing was going.
I love the track. That's Lee Carreri on production, who was Bruno from Fame, if you remember that beautiful movie. And
you wrote the music, the lyrics, and you co-wrote the music with Ramon Morant.
Yes, Ramon Morant is also a Connecticut musician, probably a Connecticut icon, under the radar, but one of the finest guitar players and musicians and writers in all of the state.
And how did that song come about?
That song came about. Ray and I were, speaking of staying up late talking till 3 a.m., doing one of those.
Seems to be that's when all the inspiration happens. Huh?
He had his guitar, I had my voice. We had some fun, and it got buried in some like little basement tape. And I pulled it out one day, and I was in California with Lee, and I'm like, this song, it haunted me. And I thought, let's bring in a.
So you're just improvising with them at 3 a.m, had a little tape, and was it really tape?
It was really little tape, yeah. Because I back before the phone, yeah, a little tape, little handheld I had, and Lee and I took it there. But a funny story about Jesus, because when we shot the video, I asked Jesus to come in on the video, and he said, I will come with my family. He brought his entire flamenco family. I'm talking grandmothers, kids. They're all in the music video. It's fantastic. It was literally, and every time I'm doing a different, like a shot or a scene somewhere else, they never stop playing music. Like always the music coming down the hallway. Him and his family, they never stop.
So you've been around for a while. Doing music.
Yes.
You grew up in the Hartford area.
Yes.
And we'll get soon to where you live now, because that's interesting. But first about the music. So how long you been recording and performing? I have been recording for, 25 years now. Wow. My first band was Jamie Strange. We had a 10-year run. We had a lot of fun in Hartford. And then I took a risk and went to California, where I thought that's where you're supposed to go. And come to find out, there's so much amazing talent everywhere, but Connecticut really has. Where in California? I was in Venice, California. We're close to Lee Carreri. Yeah, I wasn't on the beach. I was the last house on the Venice line. Let me tell you, it got intense. I started to, let's say my love of humanity, or my understanding of humanity, got challenged because of the where I lived. It was very difficult. Like, the homelessness situation got hard. I remember from the boardwalk. Yes. Too. The boardwalk was kind of creepy. It's kind of this kind of free California feeling, but then you notice all the kind of really stressed out and creeped out people. Right. And they would pee on my front door and poop in my back garage, and I had my house caught on fire from some meth makers in the van next door. My house caught on fire, so it got rough. And did you have a kid there? I did. I had 2 children, and did you get out safely? Yes, I did. Thank the Lord, and the cat too, and the dogs. I did, and it's just long story short. I had to, they say leave California before you get too soft. I had to leave before I got too hard. Yeah. We don't think much about the meth thing. I know there's meth here, but you don't hear about that as much here as you do on the West Coast. Truth. It's a big deal. And it's kind of flammable. Yes. And for those who cook it, it's very dangerous. Yeah, that's what I mean. So you're back, but you're still doing the music. Yes, sir. And how did you get on the bill here with Thabisa? Thankfully, Steve as well asked me to join, and I so related to what Thabisa was saying earlier about sort of letting go of expectation, because I was in the same boat. I just said, I'm going to stop pushing, because it seems like the harder I push, the further that goes, that goal goes. And I just said, just trust. And then I got an invitation to open for her. And I don't even know if Steve knows that my 3rd solo recording, I recorded in South Africa in Joburg. Really? Yes. Awesome. With Jasper Williams and Derek Nakamoto and some of the most beautiful musicians in South Africa. Lawrence Machisa. I don't know if you know these people. Oh my God. Just no, I don't know him, but just saying Machisa, I'm like, take me home. Okay. And I was blown away by the musicianship there. I was blown away by the township vibe, and that's why I went, because you can't get that anywhere else in the world. And I had a record sitting on my counter for her. It's called Hope Nation. It's my 3rd recording, and I wanted to hand it to you personally, but I'm sorry I don't have it, so I will give it to you at the show. Because I thought before you said that, I said I was feeling a kind of connection between your 2 kinds of music, even though yours seemed to come more from flamenco tradition and all the kind of rhythms. And Thabisa came out of the Miriam Makeba, coming out of the South African tradition. That kind of soulful, free-floating vocal. Yes. That's sort of reaching up for that higher common sensation. Yeah. So what kind of band are you going to have? I was going to go full fireworks. I'm like, she's got horns. I've got to come in strong. And then I said, no, if you can't fix it, feature it, because my band started falling apart. We lost my drummer in a mysterious gardening accident. And oh my God. No, that's a joke. It's a spinal tap joke. Oh, that's one of the drummers.
Actually, he did have a biking accident.
But was that one of the drummers? Really? That was.
It was honest to God. So I lost my drummer, Jeff Brown, and I said, instead of trying to like keep on piecing this, let me just pare it down. So I'm doing 2 acoustic guitars, 2 vocals, and my daughter Joni, who's now 21, will be singing with me. So get ready for that when you're 20 years older, like me, darling.
And is it a lot of kind of heavy rhythmic strumming? Or
it's going to be very rhythmic. It's going to be very soulful.
So with 2 guitars and 2 or 3 voices, you'll make a lot of sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. And also honoring the quiet, We're starting with an Appalachian song that you announced me as a folk singer, which I kind of don't know if that's what I am. But folk, if we think about what folk might be, is the voice of the people, is how I look at that.
And roots traditions, kind of.
And roots traditions.
Doesn't have to be
kumbaya. Roots traditions, exactly. So I'm coming out with like this, a cappella Appalachian, and that's where I've been getting drawn to. I so want to explore our roots music in the Blue Ridge Mountains and beyond, That's
and you're in the mountains of Connecticut now, aren't you?
I'm in like Narnia is where it feels like to me.
Because you're from Hartford originally?
I'm from Hartford originally.
But now you bought a farm in Norfolk, which is really, and there's some kind of roots music going on up there and festivals and stuff.
I love Infinity Music Hall.
You bought something called Loon Meadow Farm. You renamed it Graceland in 2018.
Wow, you dug deep.
And you're running a small animal rescue rewilding farm. As you said, a crow changed your life, and you're active and you're active herbalist. You're an active herbalist and conservationist. You are pretty into interesting stuff. You incorporate essential oils and healing herbs into your practice. What is the practice?
Well, I'm a Maya abdominal massage therapist as well, but I really studied that to help my family and to help myself, because the belly is where it all begins. So
You're talking about the gut?
Yes, yes. And Maya abdominal is an ancient technique that used to be handed down through the traditions of the grandparents, and now everyone's so obsessed with Western medicine. And girls shouldn't have painful periods. That's just
really?
They would turn to the Maya abdominal massage in the past, and now it's drugs and ibuprofen and Midol and, shamefulness and, hide yourself. So when you have pain, it's usually congestion of some kind, and the Maya abdominal will circulate. And it's for men too, because this is sort of a different interview. But getting back to...
It's Dateline New Haven. Yes, we talk about it all. Okay.
Yeah. All right, great. Right, because what else? Music and our well-being is connected.
So you do massage?
I do.
Based on a Mayan
tradition. But I've been
tradition.
So busy getting this farm up and running that I have put that to the back
burner. So
that
you do an animal rescue.
I do. I've been an animal rights activist for a long time. I was an animal control officer. I'm working on that.
I'm a vegan.
You're beginning to be?
No. I've been a vegan for over 20 years, but I do have honey.
I
so
see.
I call each other's vegan.
Oh, is that what that means? I thought vegan means beginning
Big fight
to be.
among I never fight about it.
Honey is huge for me. I think it keeps me alive, honestly.
Yeah, so in other words, we try to pretend we can make the argument that's consistent. It's a little bit of a weak argument, but we're 50-50 vegans. I think about half of us do eat the honey. Yeah. And I like this done locally from Vincent K, but that's kind of a cop-out a little bit. It's like,
Right.
But you're an animal rights person, but you're not a vegan.
I am working on it. I have my own chickens, so I do eat their eggs.
But there's a lot of good argument for doing it locally and treating them well.
But that would qualify me as not a vegan.
Right.
Because I am still using animal products.
But
a
lot of people
are
cared about... Yeah, my wallet too.
Yeah, well done. How about the money?
No,
the that fake money too.
So why do you rescue these animals, and how do you do it?
Well, how do I do it? Honestly, listening. That's the thing. For instance, I rescued 2 dogs from the South, one after Hurricane Harvey in Texas, and another one. The South really treats supposedly their dogs a lot differently. It's legal to shoot your dog in certain states. Wow. So the Southern animals, they send them up to the Northeast by the truckload in hopes that Northeasterners will adopt the Southern dogs. So I did adopt 2 Southern, and they do have an internal fear in them. And the thing I've noticed, if you ask me from my methodology on how I train my dogs, for instance, is to give them the more space, cage them less. And once they understand that I'm their leader and I'm not going to hurt them, they follow me. It's so weird. The more freedom I give them, the more they follow.
Why are you their leader?
Well, dogs are pack animals, and the same with the horses.
I always wonder about that. Like, why do we have dogs as pets instead of just leaving them out in nature?
Well, it's a culture thing. We took them out of the wolf environment to protect our little communities. Like, we stole the wolf pups back in the day to warn us from when predators are coming. They would bark and they would protect man. So we established this relationship with the wolf, dog for hundreds of years.
So you're saying that now the dogs couldn't do it out in themselves in the wild. So since we created a kind of breed or several breeds that can't fend for themselves, it's up to us to help take care of them?
That's not exactly what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is every animal deserves respect and sacred.
Every living thing.
Every living thing, even the bees, even the trees, everything deserves sacred respect. And
but what about freedom?
Freedom is hard because you can't just have dogs running wild in the woods, because what about all the animals they're going to eat?
Eat them, right? That's what,
right?
That's what my wife
Do you
says.
protect the birds?
So I don't know if
and
Thabisa knows this walking around Lower
fox?
Westville. Until a few months ago, there was one house at West Elm and Yale, near where you live, where this dog had dug this big depression under a fence and couldn't get out, but would bark like mad every when you came by and scratch trying to get out. Every time I walk by the house, I'm thinking, why don't we just let these dogs free? But my wife said what you said, we kind of domesticated them. They're not wolves anymore. They'll be killed, and
right.
It's not cruel.
And look at the cat population. That's exactly what happened. Now we have feral cats that are overpopulating and they kill millions of songbirds a year. So everything's a balance, and it's about responsibility. Yeah. If you're gonna adopt a pet, unfortunately, spaying and neutering is your number one, first thing you should do, because we have an overpopulation. Adopt, don't shop, is what I say.
But now, is it cheesy to bring this back to music? Does this kind of healing you do in the animal rescue have anything to do?
I'll bark into a howl, which will bring it right back.
Does it inspire your music? Being in touch with nature and people's guts and massage and Mayan tradition, being in touch with animals and being out on the farm, does that have anything to do with your music and your creative process?
Can I just say, I just wrote my last record out there in the field, scooping poop and walking my dogs in the woods. And I'm currently working with Jim Chapdelaine right now, who is a fabulous producer in West Hartford, also very politically involved with the movement right now. But I wrote my record walking those woods with those dogs and scooping poop in the fields.
All right, so it wasn't cheesy. We were going somewhere there. It was connected, and I love the picture on your Lullabies for Monsters. You're doing the full moon thing out by the lake in the middle of the night.
I
was thinking, man, if I were in that picture, I might even write some music. You're hearing about that on Dateline New Haven, WNHH-FM. You're home for community radio here at 103.5 FM live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. We're now going to also talk to Chrissy Gardner, but first, we're talking to Chrissy, and we're talking to Angela, we're talking to Thabisa about a big concert coming up in Hartford Thursday night. We'll remind you once later again that it's 7:30 p.m. November 8th at the Autorino Center of the Arts and Humanities at St. Joseph's in Hartford. But let's hear another track from Thabisa.
Yes, indeed.
We won't say this is for Donald Trump, but it's called Why Do You Have to Lie?
There was a girl, she was only 19. Thought she knew it, although she was wrong. Didn't know better where she was going. Oh, I doubted it has a dead end. Ooh, 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 ooh. Every time she opens her mouth, her frog tongue did what and knew best, deceiving and confusing and abusing and more, her heart and soul without mind. Why do you have to lie? Why do you have to cry? Must be hard to be haunted by ghosts in that empty house you call a home. Come out wherever you are. Come out into the light, where darkness does not to go. Only serenity resides. Oh, 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 oh. There is a time in all of our lives where we befriend darkness as we go. Every time we open our arms, all we receive and give nothing at all. Do you know better where you are going? Oh, I doubt it always ends bad. Oh, 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 oh,
That's Thabisa. our own Thabisa from Westville in New Haven, singing Why Do You Have to Lie from her album The Journey. And we're talking with Thabisa, we're talking to Chrissy Gardner, we're talking to Angela Luna about a joint gig they're all doing with Thabisa's headlining Thursday night in Hartford. We'll give you the details once more before you leave. Chrissy Gardner, you said you haven't played with Thabisa before, but your friends, you've been around in Westville. You have some recordings of your own, don't you?
I do. My first record is called Alabaster Room. I recorded that in Chicago. And Waxwing, which I haven't quite actually released yet. I finished 2 years ago, but I had a couple personal struggles that kept me, big personal struggles that kept me from getting out there. But I'll be back out. I perform regularly every week, 2 or 3 times. In fact, I'll be in West Hartford tonight at the Half Door Pub with my friend Robert Masori, who you know, Robert.
The guitarist. Excellent.
And I'm at Crave in Ansonia every Friday night in the Piano Lounge.
What's it like playing in Ansonia?
Oh, I love that gig so much. It's a great restaurant. Crave is a great restaurant. And
do people want to be talking or they want to be listening to Chrissy?
The night always starts with them talking and eating their dinner. And then somewhere along the way, when their alcohol levels get up a little bit, they start to turn their attention. And sometimes it's a huge sing-along. Sometimes it's
So do you start out playing just instrumentally for a long time?
I sing the whole time, but I'll just do like jazz standards or,
Like what? Like Summertime or?
Like Summertime, like All of Me, that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And then it moves to things that people request, usually Billy Joel, Elton John, that kind of a thing. And it's not much original music for that. That's like a totally different kind of a gig than my original stuff. Okay. And when Robert and I play, it's kind of, he joins me the last Friday of every month there. And I have a group of regulars that are there really every Friday.
And what kind of stuff do you, because I've heard you play covers. Do you play originals too? Do you write music?
Oh, I write tons of music, yes. So I work with Broken Umbrella Theater. Mm-hmm. I think I've been here before for that. Yeah. So I've written 5 musicals and shows for them. We did the Arts and Ideas. We did Freewheelers a few years ago for the Festival of Arts and Ideas. Wrote the music for that. That's with the bicycles
or no?
Yes.
And that was in the old space that's now the state
Correct.
House.
We rehabbed it. We had 50 to 70
they took us down
volunteers.
in the old metal elevators going in the basement and then back in that space. That was wonderful.
Yes, it was. So I wrote the music for that and worked with Abigail Giga, who used to be a performer here in New Haven. She now lives in England. And so I write a lot of music. And the second album, Waxwing, I'll start performing that music coming this spring. We're actually going to be playing at Don't Tell Mamas in New York on May 5th. And
what's Don't Tell Mamas?
It's just it's almost like a cabaret kind of a space, holds about 85 people. But Abigail's coming back in from England for that. And my friend Megan Chanot from San Francisco is going to come join with the 3 of us together. We're going to sort of join forces. I'm really big about joining forces with other women. I think sometimes we're competitive and we don't need to.
Should we hear Willie Flap?
Wiley Flap? Sure.
Nice.
Sorry about that. Because we're about to run out of time, but I want to make sure we hear everyone's music.
That's nice. Thank you.
Okay. Wiley Flap by Chrissy Gardner on Dateline New Haven.
Yes.
We're getting a little bit of every kind of sound here today. I love it.
Love it.
I see her visions in my looking glass stare, composing a mad affair. She starts spinning around, turn it upside down. Look at the world, throw it all now. Live it all your lives now. Give it a whirl and we go ya ba ba. Flip it up and leave it up and leave it up and leave it up and
Wiley Flap, Chrissy Gardner cutting loose on Dateline New Haven.
The secret weapon in the room.
I know.
Well, I can't believe how much good music here. I forgot all that mean election stuff already.
Right?
It's like a cleanse. I feel like we're getting a musical cleanse this morning.
Yes, please.
Oh, that's right. We need that. And how about let's just say how many women now are? What is it? Almost 100 women are going to be. This is a phenomenal moment.
Yes,
it's wonderful.
This is what you call evolution.
That's right. Yes.
Lou Mangini says Chrissy Gardner, 3 exclamation points.
Hi, Lou.
M. Douglas Bibby says, love Chrissy Gardner. Chrissy's original music is phenomenal. Based on that track, I will agree with him.
Thank you so much.
So I think we're going to have to wrap it up, folks. I had so much fun meeting all of you.
Thanks.
And I hope you do a great job tomorrow
here.
night. Let's let everybody know that you're all going to be in Hartford tomorrow night. They might want it too.
Yeah.
Thursday, November 8th.
7:30.
7:30.
Not bar time. 7:30 sharp.
Autorino Center of the Arts and Humanities at St. Joseph's in Hartford. You will hear Thabisa in an 8-person ensemble cutting loose with some of her great music.
It's going down. And my daughter will be dancing. Just
all right,
put
there
it
you
out
go. We got Chrissy Gardner of Westfield on the keyboards. And you're also going to have Angela Luna with decades worth of great music going in some great directions, going to play along. And Angela, on your album, Lullabies for Monsters, what song should we take it out on?
How about we go out with a breeze? Track 3.
We're going out with a breeze. We're going to thank everybody for listening today to Dateline New Haven. I'm going to thank Yale New Haven Hospital for providing support. I want to thank Thabisa. I want to thank Chrissy Gardner and Angela Luna for starting me off with a great morning after a long night.
Thank you. This was so
Thank you.
Best of luck in your concerts. Best of luck in your careers. Best of luck with your animals and getting back to the Mayan massage.
Thank you.
We're going to take it out with Angela Luna performing Breeze.
Oof.
And have a great day, everybody.
She's gonna laugh and play when she finally gets a little pony. She's gonna ride all day. We don't need nothing but time to spare. We don't need nothing but a breeze blowing back our Cuando ella tiene sus zapatos, she's gonna dance all day. Cuando ella tiene sus zapatos, she's gonna spin